Graeme Leanne, thank you so much indeed for your kind invite into your beautiful, beautiful house, your beautiful residence as well. I suppose we want to do this quite linear, so we're going to go way back when. And this is not the psychiatrist's couch, okay? You're not going to be asked to tap into those deepest, darkest secrets or anything like that. But I suppose before we go back to the start, it's only right to look at the present and the now as well. And as we sit here in your stunning house and we sit looking out over Dubai at the perfect time of year, the weather's changing down here as well. Just give me your sort of take on where we're at the moment. A, personally, B, corporately, but C, also in Dubai. I mean, I've just come from a studio where all anyone's talking about at the moment is the population growth here, the demand for jobs here, people coming in left, right and centre. Ladies first, Leanne, how are you at the moment? Are you happy in yourself?
Very, very, very happy, and you're correct. Like the temperature and the buzz about Dubai, I like it, and I think that's one of the main reasons we moved here. Was we've been coming here for what, 16, 17 years, and we just loved the buzz, the energy, the feeling that everybody wants to do well, everyone wants to get on, and everyone wants everyone around them to get on. There's not that negativity, oh, he's doing well, you know, and then want to pull all their skeletons out the closet. So we loved that, you know, everybody supports one another, and there's just a right good, everybody wants to get on.
Yeah, I love that positivity, isn't it? That optimism that you see. Great. I suppose I could have condensed that really long question into 2 words, isn't it? Why Dubai?
Yeah, I think, like Leanne said, we've travelled the world. Yeah. 20 years together, we've travelled the world. We love the US, we love going to different places. But Dubai was always a place that we came back and visited every yeyear. We moved here, what, 4.5 years ago or so. And it was a big move for us. You know, we're coming from the UK, our businesses are in Europe, and mainly in Europe. We do some business in the US. We always thought we'd move to the US. But just what we've seen, the growth and the development of Dubai over the last 16, 17 years. And there is that buzz and energy about the place, you know, and that's what was really attractive. You know, the safety, it's a healthy place. And it's been a wonderful place for us to bring up our kids over the last few years. They've really grown and developed because of the freedom they've had, you know, and the friends and the mixed, diverse group of nationalities, you know, of their friend peers. You know, compared to growing up in Scotland, where it's really only people within a 5-mile radius. Everybody talks the same and thinks the same, and so they've really grown and developed. So that's been for us. We never had that when we were growing up. We'll probably touch on that, but it gives us everything we need from a place we've yet to find anywhere better. You know, we talk about the temperature now at this time of the year. I mean, it really is the envy of the world. You know, you're looking at the weather. We were just back from Miami last week. We were at New York the week before, and it's wonderful being back in Dubai. Nothing beats Dubai at the moment for us. And you know, maybe something will come up in the future, but for the time being, you know, this is the place for us.
That's a perfect place to start. I love that little element of optimism to kick us off. But you're right. You mentioned there, I suppose this is when we do put the psychologist cap on and go way back when, because a lot of people obviously talk about roots, about principles, about foundations in life. You talked about early life in Scotland. How do you reflect on your childhood, your early education? Were you a model student, Graeme?
Yes.
Good. Right, let's move on.
Oh, I think, you know, growing up in a council housing scheme, all my family, you know, there was a standard path set out for me, and that was you went to school, you tried your best, but ultimately you were going to become a tradesman and go and work in the construction industry, because that's what my family had done before me, and that was just kind of the route that you know was laid out in front of us. So you'd kind of tried your best. You know, not many people in my family went on to university or anything like that. There was kind of a, you know, very working class background, and but there was always the dream, you know, as you're growing up, that you'd escape. You know, there must be more to life. You wanted to go and explore the world, and so that was always an ambition of mine. But in saying that, we had a very happy childhood. I didn't know. We didn't know that we were, you know, poor. We didn't know because we were happy, and I think ultimately that's what it's all about. You know, but yeah. So no, we were very, very working class background, very, you know, hand to mouth when it came to money. There was no investing or, you know, thinking of the plan. It was, you know, it was week to week. You know, was ultimately that's all we knew. That's all I knew growing up. And I think Leanne was the same.
Yeah. We had pretty similar parents, you know,
backgrounds.
similar jobs, very similar background. Graeme lived in the East Coast, I lived in the West Coast, but very similar, council estates. I had quite a big family, so did Graeme, you know, and it was just all about, you know, your family, and everybody, as Graeme says, went down the same path. You know, not many people went.
But it's interesting that both of you, because you know, quite often people talk about that, and the old violin comes out and it says, yeah, no, but you talk about from very happy backgrounds as well.
I had a great childhood, loved it, you know.
So looking back on that childhood and the early education, things like that, do you think that's informed you as individuals in terms of your principles, in terms of your foundations, in terms of what's important in life?
Oh, completely agree. My mum and dad, like Graeme's, were very hard-working people, and it set you up, you know, that you were to go out and work hard and, you know, be very ambitious. And I think I always remember back to my grandfather used to always say, you can be anything you want. And it's not until you got older that you realise what he was telling you. And I think I didn't go to college, but I was very ambitious, started working, you know, at 16 and very independent. And I think that did come from the way I was brought up.
Yeah, same. I think, you know, I was starting on delivering milk, you know, 13 years old, my uncle's milk lorry. We were working at earn money. We just wanted to be, you know, earn our own money and be as independent as I could. I got, you know, first McDonald's in Scotland, opened in Dundee. I got a job there when I was 15, and then I'd been there 2 months, and then they realised I was too young. I was supposed to be 16, so I got put on garden leave for 2 months on full pay. That was brilliant. Then I had to start back working again. But I was always working. Milk, McDonald's. I got a YTS as a joiner when I left the school because that's just what you done. And so always hard working. And I miss that for the kids now because they don't have that. Yeah, they don't have that.
Part-time or Saturday jobs.
Yeah.
They don't do it.
No, you don't have that. The old holiday job and things like that just doesn't exist here, does it? So was the milk round the first paid job?
That was the first paid job for me, yeah.
What did you do with your first paycheck?
What did I do with it? That's a good question. I think it was £9. It was £9, I'll tell you that. I think I probably went into the town and bought a jumper or something. You know, it was something like that. It is, yeah. But I thought it was loaded. You know, I thought I had loads of money at the time. I think I got £2 tips as well for delivering it. So that was me.
Leanne, can you remember back to your first job?
First ever job was 300 papers, a penny a paper. And it was absolutely ridiculous. So I lasted about 2 weeks because I thought there must be more to life than this. And then I started working in Dobie's Garden Centre in the tea room, and I got £48 for working Saturday and Sunday. And you got your money in your wee brown envelope. And I'd probably like Graeme, I was about clothes. I used to cycle down and back every day, or Saturday and Sunday.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we talked there about family and growing up and the sort of the morals that are instilled us from that. But I think you'd both agree as well that, you know, with work, it also informs you, doesn't it? And your early employment informs you, and whatever you're doing and the path you go down as well. We often hear now about a very work-shy environment, and people don't want to work the hours they don't want to put in as well. From that early employment, not just from the papers round, which maybe didn't last that long as well, but that early employment, and you were sort of going, okay, this is what's for me. What did you sort of learn? What experiences did you have?
I loved working, so I left school at 16. Well, I actually started working in a distribution company after school. So 2 hours a day and then a full day Saturday for a big company. and I loved it. And then in the summer holidays, they offered me a full-time job. So I was supposed to be going to college, and then I thought, no, I love this. I love earning my own cash and having my freedom.
And there's nothing wrong with that decision.
No, and I loved it. And then I think because I was dead inquisitive, so, you know, I wanted to learn. So I was one of these people, can you show me how to do that? And, you know, just within the company, and then I kind of progressed. And then that was my whole career. So I went from company to company just chasing a better position. But I loved it. I mean, I would go in and do briefings at night at 2 in the morning, you know, for the warehouse staff, and, you know, anything that I could do to learn and try and work in the other departments. So I just loved that. I mean, and I would go in 7 days a week. Just loved working.
Graeme?
Yeah, I think like it's about the work ethic. You know, it's just what you've done. I mean, it wasn't something that we thought. You know, we loved earning, earning our own money and doing that. So if it was overtime shift or an additional shift, it was just something you just done that. You know, that was because you can make extra money, and I think the grounding of that was, and the work ethic of I had to work. You know, my dad, and working since it was my uncle's milk round, so I daren't be off. You know, you daren't sleep in, you daren't be off, you know, or be late, you know, that was, so that kind of tough, it was a tough discipline start for me, but it served me well, even to this day, because, you know, you need to show up, you know, you need to be on time, you need to, and I think that those early lessons certainly done me no harm. I mean, it was horrible at times when you didn't feel like it, you know, there was no sneaking off, you know, I had to show up, and, but it certainly didn't do me any harm in the long run.
Were your ambitions in line with your parents' ambitions, your family ambitions as well, in terms of where the direction you wanted to go in?
I didn't know what I wanted to do. I did not have a clue. But what I did know is I did not want to do what my dad was doing. Okay, so my dad had been in the corporate world. He'd worked his way up. He'd done well. He was a housing scheme guy, done well. He worked his way out of it. We moved to Kent when I was just 16. We just turned 16. We moved and that was a big move. No one really in our family had made that move. My dad had got a promotion, so we'd moved to the south of England, and this was big. So he got a manager. He became the managing director of a firm down there, and that had never really happened. So my dad's route was always in the corporate world, and he'd done well at it. But I seen the pressure. He never really enjoyed it. You know, he didn't enjoy it. And I seen it. No matter how much money he made, we were always skint. We just didn't ever have enough. It was still the same. We had higher money, but we had higher costs. And my dad's view on life was, I was always, my bum was always twitching. And I always wanted, there must be more to this. You know, my ambitions are greater than being, 50 years old, massive pressure. You're going to be obsolete one day. You know, there's going to be younger, you're clinging on for your job. You know, I always wanted to earn my own money, to run my own business, but have no clue on what to do. My dad's view was he couldn't start his own business because he had 3 kids. My view was, I have to have my own business because I'm going to have kids. It was the opposite view. So my dad was absolutely my inspiration, but he wasn't my mentor because he'd done the corporate world. But that was great for where he came from, but it was absolutely evident to me I did not want to follow in that footsteps because that wasn't going to get me to where I wanted to go. So I don't know if that
makes a huge amount of sense as well. And Leanne, I was just wondering if I saw you nodding away there as well. I mean, did your family push you in a certain direction? Or?
No, not really, but very similar to Graeme. Our fathers both worked for big distribution companies, and then I followed the path of my father. And like Graeme, my dad was my boss at one point, and he kept saying to me, climb the ladder, but you'll need to do it elsewhere because you won't get anywhere because of me. But he was my inspiration. He worked hard, but I like Graeme, but I didn't know. I just didn't know there was something not right, and there was more I wanted. But I didn't. It wasn't until I met Graeme that I thought about running my own business, and you know, I just always thought I would be in that corporate world because that's what my family done.
An employee rather than an employer.
Yes, uh-huh.
Yeah. So that for the first sort of spark of entrepreneurship, of being your own boss as well.
Uh-huh.
You reckon you had that from an early age?
I don't think I had the. I wanted to do well. I always wanted to, you know, and like that, earn my own money. But it wasn't until I met Graeme that they kind of, well, he introduced me to a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then the light bulb went on, and I thought, I'm doing this wrong. Yeah. I should be my own boss. Yeah.
Let's get on to the Eureka moment, shall we? You two meeting each other as well. You've just given us a little hint of that. Your recollections, Leanne, on that fateful moment where you and Graeme crossed paths?
Yeah, I can remember it well. So Graeme and I both worked for the same company, but Graeme, you were based in Newcastle at the time, and I was based in Falkirk. Yeah. And Graeme was replacing my boss, who I hated, but I didn't know this at the time. And we went out for my boss at the time's leaving night, and Graeme and I were sat beside each other, and then the rest is history. But Graeme will tell her completely.
I'll tell you the true story. I'll tell you the true story. So Leanne dived on me that night. You know what I mean? She wouldn't leave. And by the way, I gave her £30 because her car got swallowed in the machine. So I had to give her £30, which I've never had back to this day. So you're still due me that, by the way. And
I think
interest.
you're due me a lot more than that.
Yeah. So that was it. We met at work, and it was on a works night out, and that was it.
We started dating, and because we worked with each other, I was like, I don't want anyone to know my business because I'm good at my job, and I don't want tarred with, oh, you're going out with the boss, and you know, different things. And we were quite heavily bonused, and I thought, if he now becomes my boss, it's going to look like I'm getting a bonus because you know, he's my boyfriend. So we kept it really quiet for ages, and I kept saying, I can't do this. You know, something's got to give.
Well, we got caught.
We got caught.
We got caught. We got found out. We were on a train.
One night, and the girl that I employed was getting off the train, and we were getting on, and I was like, oh.
But there's obviously natural attraction there. There's obviously a connection there as well. But then you just highlighted as well that the fact that you were, you know, the conversations you were having about business, and the conversations you were having about ambition and entrepreneurship and looking forward as well was something that inspired you. Was that a connection between you two, do you think?
Definitely was. Definitely was. I think both ambitious. You know, I'd started 3 businesses previously. So previous to going back to mainstream employment, which was the company where I met Leanne. I'd started small businesses earlier, 2000, 2001, and every one of them failed. So I had to go back to a job. I just over broke, back to mainstream employment, going down that route, and I hated every minute of it. But I was good at it, and I was always, because when I was doing it, I was in there, I was giving it my all, but I was never going to be full-time in the corporate world. So when I met Leanne, and she's kind of winding me up, saying, you'll be a lifer here. You know, I said, I will not. You know, I will not. So the first gift I bought her was a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I'd read, which was a kind of epiphany.
Oh, no, it was Rich Woman.
Rich Woman I bought you, sorry. But then you got Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
And then I followed the series of books and different things.
So that was the first thing I bought her. I said, no, listen, I'm not you've got me wrong in terms of a corporate guy. No. I'm just here temporary. I'm recovering from, failed businesses. I've got to recover emotionally, financially, and all that stuff. But, I'll be going again, and ultimately that's what happened.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Because it obviously it served you guys brilliantly as well. Because we often talk about the natural the attraction, etc., and that's one thing there. But unless there's a shared passion, unless there's a shared interest, how often do you see people sort of going drifting apart? But if you've got that passion together as well, it's something that's going to serve you for the rest of your life, isn't it?
I think what I love about Graeme is because I'm one of these people, if I say I'm going to do it, I'll do it. Right. And when I met Graeme, I got that from him as well. I once called him the nearly man. Don't nearly say you're going to do something. You're either committing or you're not. And I think that's how we got on so well together. We wind each other up, you know, but if we say we're going to do something, we'll do it.
Yeah.
We hold each other accountable. Yeah.
No, it is. I mean, I think it's one of these moments where, you know, two paths collide and it ultimately, bang, we've just ended up in a direction and we've only ever worked together. So when people say to us, you know, how do you cope with that? And how can you work with your spouse or the other half of your wife and all that? I say, well, what do you mean? I don't understand what you mean by that.
Yeah.
You know, because why wouldn't you? You know, you have one life. I don't understand that. You know, oh, I can never work with my wife. Oh, maybe your wife should trade you in then. Yeah. Maybe your wife should get a new husband. You know, if you can't work with your life. Yeah. So why couldn't you do that? It's normal, surely. So for us, it's not. But the questions normally asked of us is, it's not a normal thing. Well, for us, it's entirely normal. And actually, I think it's our unfair advantage. It may be that we don't go as quickly if we had done it, went alone and all that stuff, but that's fine with us because we took that conscious decision that we'll work together, grow together with our family's involved in our business now, and we might not get there as fast, but we're happy doing it and going along. I think for us it has been a really unfair advantage. I mean that. You want to say that? So
can we, because you've both made acknowledgement and hint of this, can we talk about the third person in this relationship? Because obviously you've been talking about your relationship, but Bobby Kiyosaki has got a lot to answer for here, does he not? The influence of Robert Kiyosaki on you both.
You know, we really can't overstate that. Really? I mean, we're great friends with him, Robert and Kim. Oh yeah, they've been at our house in Scotland. We've done a show in their house in Scottsdale, Arizona. We've been to the golf with them.
Been to your house in Scotland.
Yeah, we've been to Moscow with them. And that was just two people from the Highlands in Scotland, just making an effort, showing up, spending money that we struggled to get to go to Scottsdale, Arizona to the Rich Dad seminars because we believed in it. And I think
went 3 or 4 times a year.
Amazing.
And we had no money. You know, we scraped it. It's what we done in the early days, and we made the sacrifices to go. And I think they must have thought, who are these? You know, who are these guys that speak funny? You know, that keep on turning up here. You know, keep putting their hand up and all this stuff. But over the years, I mean, it must have, years and years and years. Leanne's been in Kim's book.
Yeah, that's kind of ironic. Graeme's first book was Rich Woman by Kim Kiyosaki. Yeah. And then there was, years later, we became friends and I got a phone call. I was driving from Glasgow to Dundee and it was 4 a.m. I got a phone call from Kim to say, can you write a chapter for my next book? And I was like, yeah, when do you need it? And she's like, today. I was like, all right, okay. So I remember driving from Glasgow to Dundee and I parked up in Stirling Services and I thought I better write this book. So I sat in the car for 2 hours writing this chapter, for the book, and sent it off. I got a parking ticket for being in the car park that long. So it's ironic now that I'm in Kim's second book after Graeme.
Please tell me you billed Kim for the parking ticket as well. No?
Did you appeal?
It's actually my mum's car. So I ended up having to pay
That's fine. But why Kiyosaki, I suppose?
Well, I'll tell you the story on it. I had third failed business, low ebb, skint, ego dented, all, everything. Just at a lost kind of. And I caught the tail end on a TV programme. Oprah Winfrey was interviewing a guy called Robert Kiyosaki. And the book was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I just caught this anyway. So I ordered the book. I'm just starting back mainstream employment again. And just reading that book, which is so simple, it just, I didn't have a clue. And the environment I was in, no one could advise me because everybody was just workers. Even my dad, that was good in the corporate world, he couldn't advise me, assets, liability, debt, other people's money, other people's time, protect your assets. He did, from a corporate point of view, but he was protected in that. I wanted to run my own business. So that book just made so much sense to me. It genuinely was a light bulb moment. And I studied it and read every book after that whilst working. And it rebuilt my confidence. And it rebuilt it just taught me how much I didn't know. So I needed, and it took me from 2002, I think it was, to 2007 when we quit our jobs. So it wasn't a quick thing. You know, it was a 5-year process, and the timing had to be right. So it was property that we decided to go into, and we got into the property business as the markets crashed. So when everybody was getting out, there was value in the market, so we were going right against the tide. And everybody thought we were crazy, and we you know, but it was terrifying. but you know, it was absolutely the right thing, because we you know, we made sure we were ready for it. Yeah, we could see the value.
I love the fact that you used that phrase, light bulb moment, because it gets used so often and overused, I think, in so many occasions. But you obviously had. Do you have that light bulb moment as well?
Like when Graeme, that's what I'm saying. I was always chasing the next position within the corporate world, but when Graeme gave me the Rich Woman book, then the Rich Dad book, I was like, this is it. This is what this. I've been doing it all wrong, and it just made complete sense to us. Do you know what I mean? It felt more natural than life.
it was just simple.
If there's one piece of advice, Kiyosaki advice, that you can take from all the works and all the times you've met him and things like that, and broken bread, etc., that you pass on to your boys, that you pass on to those that you mentor as well. If there's one sentence, one piece of advice, what is it?
You've got to turn up. You've got to turn up, and you've got to take action. I mean, and that's, we've got many mentors now, and that's the number one thing. You know, we've met people over the years, they're way smarter than us, way more money than us to begin with, way more starting from a higher position than us, done nothing, because they just don't take action. They're walking past opportunity after opportunity, waiting till all the lights turn green, you know, before they'll leave the house. You're going, no, we see opportunity, and we'll act upon it. Now, we don't get them all right, but that's the number one thing for Kiyosaki or Dan Penny or John Caldwell or the people that we deal with now. They see opportunity, and they will not have the fear of failure. And I think, you know, a lot of people that we've met, good friends of ours, we've left them because they're still where they are, doing nothing.
It's
because
good to fail, you know, fail and learn from
action.
it.
Yeah. And you're a big believer of that, that you learn from your failures, yeah.
And we love nothing more. Well, we don't love problems. I mean, we've got a problem, we get the flip chart out, a glass of wine, and we sit and we break it down bit by bit, just until we're ready to go and take action and solve it. You know, and it's a great way of thinking. You know, we've had many times that we've thought, how are we going to
get through this?
Get through this, and we just sit with the flip chart and we break it down stage by stage.
Take me back to that first. It's great to see that the flip chart is still there at the moment as well. And I'm just going to hazard a guess at how many papers you've been through during the times and during the journey. But take me back to the beginning of the entrepreneurial journey. I mean, we talked about the moment, we've talked about the book changing hands, we've talked about you coming together and go, oh, we're quite like-minded here. Where are the roots of the group, if you like? What was the first step with your joint entrepreneurial journey together?
As I said, we met at work, and I really just felt really uncomfortable. You know, Graeme's my boss, so I was pregnant with our son Mitchell, and I said to Graeme, as Graeme had said, we'd studied the book and we were wanting to get into the property industry, and I said to Graeme, I'll quit my job. You know, you're the higher paid. I'll quit my job and I'll start, you know, working on that. Yep. And he's like, no, I'll quit my job. So, long story short, we both quit our job on the same day.
Right. Now the cat's out of the bag, eh? You know.
And as Graeme said, all our family thought we were crazy because we had this baby on the way. Mitchell was due 2 months after we quit our jobs. We'd just bought a really expensive house, and we'd quit 2 well-paying jobs to go and start our
property
business. But I think it worked really well because we had this impending event that we had enough money for 6 months to live off, and if we didn't, you know, start the business and start it going well, then we would need to go back to work. Yeah.
And does that go back to that point of there's no time like the present? There's no right time, there's no wrong time, etc.
Well, yeah, but I think that was the right time. Yeah. We timed it.
You had really studied that.
Yeah, we timed it right. You know, it was, look, you know, and in actual fact, up Christ, we probably wish we'd have gotten a bit earlier, but we caught the tail end just before it really crashed in 2008. We caught the tail end of it. Was still sort of relatively easily financed. We managed to catch it. Prices were coming down. They were financeable. Yeah. They were refinanceable quickly. So we were able to, acquire value, refinance them, roll that equity back into the next deal, and just keep it going. We had a very clear goal. We needed to earn a certain amount of money from cash flow rather than equity that replaced our salaries. Yeah. So that was the only goal. Yeah. At the time, at the beginning, we wanted to do it so as we can have enough money from our investments, and we didn't have any capital at the start, so we needed to refinance. All had to be done through financing. So I think maybe to answer the question there was, we had no choice. It was either that or we had to go back to mainstream employment. So we were really up against it. We couldn't do this as a side hustle. That's why, one of us doing it and it was a part-time job. And no, the timing was, if we've got this right and we waited for it, there's value in the market, we don't want to miss it. So let's, if we're going to go for it, we go for it. And that was terrifying. But ultimately, Leanne was wandering around, Dundee with Mitchell in the pram, putting leaflets through doors.
We're buy your property.
We're buying properties in this area, and I'm trying to get the money. So we were all in. We were just all in.
Do you remember the first property?
Yeah.
Yes.
Remember? We just sold it not long ago.
Really?
Yeah, we did. And it was one up in Aberdeen. A couple they were divorcing, so they wanted it, and it was a sale and rent back. So the guy worked offshore in the rigs. He's divorcing with his wife. They just wanted rid of the house, so they were just selling it. They were getting short of it, but the guy didn't want anybody to know about it. Didn't want to put it in the open market, so he wanted to rent it back. So that was a perfect one for us because we got it for, I think it was 60,000 below market value. This was our first deal. Yeah. Now this was like, oh, beautiful. Brilliant. So we got it 60,000 below market value. We're an immediate tenant. We were able to
cash flow.
We were able to, so because we bought it, and at the beginning, at that time, the finance was we didn't have the capital to buy it, so we took a bridging loan out to buy the property. I think it was 160,000. It was valued at 225. We refinanced it the same day for 80% of the value. So not only did we bought the property, we got £20,000 out extra because we refinanced it at the value. We had a tenant that was paying, that was in immediately, and it was cash flowing, and we were on our way. Yeah. Now, my dad thought, don't buy that. Oh no, it's in Aberdeen. It's in Aberdeen. I must admit, we were terrified, because it was the first one. We had that property, 16 years or something? We only just sold it. Just sold it recently. Just sold it recently.
But from that point, was the vision always, okay, this is just the first of many? You obviously wanted to scale the business as quickly as possible. Did it happen quicker than expected? Was it slower than quick?
No, quick. We thought ourselves it would take us 2 years, maybe, if we can last 2 years to become financially free, and that was to have enough money that we didn't have to go back to work again off the investments. We'd done it within 12 months. So it happened quicker. So we got the timing right. That was the plan. There was no big scale or plan. The focus was simply, which was the rich dad Kiyosaki model, was on cash flow. How to become, your income without working, is what it's all about. Becomes financially free. But once we got there, our plan then just changed, and it's just evolved over all the years. Never before did we think we were going for billions that we're doing now. We just needed a few £1,000s a month, but over the years it's just grown and developed, and we're now doing business, internationally. Never was that the case. It was, how many properties do we need? That was it.
But when it's just the two of you as well, and we talk about that, and we talk about the momentum, etc. And I love the positivity. I love the fact that you'd sort of seen this and you plan ahead for it, and were fully prepared in that sense. But were you fully prepared? Was there a point where the momentum was just getting a bit quick? Was there any point that you said, okay, can we just put the foot on the brakes for a little while? Or was that never the case?
It's never been the case. And I think we grew that quickly. We were like, we can't do this just the two of us. We're needing a team here. Yeah. We're needing,
Yeah, we need to grow. Yeah.
How quickly did that happen, putting the team together?
Do you know, we were seven properties in, and I remember this because I had a baby. You know, Graeme was doing all the financial and the legal stuff. I was doing all the, you know, the door chatting, as it be, finding the deals, negotiating the deals, and then managing them. I can remember sitting down going, oh my God, I didn't realise I was going to need to manage them at the other end. So, so it was just, it was absolutely crazy, and it was full on, you know, as I say, we had the baby. So I think at that point I said, right, maybe get a childminder that'll allow me to focus on this really. And then, but I always remember it being the 7 properties, and we thought, right, we need to get a bookkeeper, we need to get help management, and it evolved from there. But never did we think we need to take the foot off the gas here. It was just like, how do we keep going? But we need this team.
Keep moving forward, Keep moving forward. Looking back at those early days, and I know you reflect on the portfolio of businesses the world over, etc., starting off from that one property in Aberdeen. What did you learn from those early days? Again, we've spoken about what you learned from childhood and education and family and things like that, but you together, you know, those hours and hours and hours you put in, those, you know, scratching your head, it's not so much the sleepless nights or anything, but what were the sort of key takeaways from those early days that have informed the business?
I think there's certain things that we underestimated, you know, so, you know, we thought we'd get to the position of financial freedom and that would be us lying on the beach, you know, the laptop lifestyle in Spain, you know, that's it, and that was it, life was great, that was us made it. You know, little did we realise, oh no, that's just the start of your problems, you know, that's the start. And in actual fact, what we learnt about ourselves is, we don't want that. We don't want the you know, lying on the beach with a cocktail. We have a house in Spain. We go there. We've tried that for 3 weeks off. We're demented. I think so. We've learned a lot. We've evolved as people. We love this now. What we thought was the end and the goal and the holy grail when we were starting out. Nothing like that now. We love that. We love what we're doing. You know, and we love evolving. I think the other part of it is, you know, staying in our own lanes. You know, Leanne will cover that. You know, we don't, you know, the property management side have zero interest in that stuff. No, none. I cannot, I don't want to get involved in that. And we just clash on that. So we very much, we're clear on what the responsibilities are, and that works for us. And when we do, listen, we have fallouts, disagreements, and arguments like anybody else. But it's normally when there's a, you know, we're crossing into each other's, lanes. You know, lanes. You know, let it be, and and I think probably.
I think we're very good at supporting each other as well. You know, like if I know Graeme's working on something really stressful, you know, I make sure that there's no added pressure and just let him get on with it, and vice versa. And that goes back to when Graeme says some of his mates will say, how can you work with your wife? You know, I think that works well for us because I know the pressure that he's under, you know, and it's like, right, give him a bit of space to work on it. I'm not going to nag him and say, you know, I need you here for dinner, or I need you around, get off your phone. We just work well together.
What I love though is you guys obviously so focused, so committed. You knew what you wanted from the property business, from the Carling Property Group, and wanted where you wanted to go. Obviously, it scaled very quickly as well, which is great. And having that sort of foundation for business and ethics, and the two of you behind it. But you are dependent on the market, and you are dependent on what's happening in the real estate sector as well. So how do you sort of navigate the changes in real estate, the changes in the landscape of the property market?
Well, I think different to what it's like in Dubai. Our properties in the UK, we don't have any holdings here in Dubai at all, none. So our business model has been very much focused on cash flow, income, so regular income, not on capital growth. It's been something, you know, we see that as gambling. That's why we haven't really ventured into the Dubai market, because the yields are not great in terms of rental properties, but you're hopeful, and a lot of people do make some good capital appreciation on the properties. That's not our model. Our model is very much on keeping the properties for the long term and keeping the cash flow coming in every month. When we sell them at the end, we'd expect there to be appreciation. If we've held on it for 10, 15, 20, 30 years even, fine. So we're very clear on what that model is, so we don't get up and down We don't get it, but it's steady. It's steady. Boring, but steady. And that's how we looked at it from the start. We didn't want to be really gambling, and we don't do that now. I mean, we have, and we've seen the property market in the UK and Europe, change so much over the sort of 16, 17 years that we've had it. Now, a massive shortage of rental accommodation. So I mean, we're running 100% occupancy most months. Prices are good, rent yields are good.
We've always had good occupancy. We've
we've
never
always
really
had good
dipped below 98%, but now it's crazy. You just put one in the market and it's away.
It's away. So the market's a different market to the selling market, whereby absolutely, we don't get hung up on that really, because we're not selling them. Now, if a property comes up, market is good, we're going to get top, we'll sell it.
We'll sell it, but
we'll just put it back in the rental market.
But, I mean, it's synonymous with property success in Scotland, and quite rightly so. Look at the portfolio of properties you've built up there. But you mentioned earlier as well about branching out into other property markets as well, states here, left, right and centre. Has that been challenging as well? Because what works in Scotland, does it work as readily in other parts of the world?
But we've diversified from owning the property assets to now owning businesses that maintain the properties. So we now look after the properties. And that was just a natural extension of having a large property portfolio that needed maintained, that needed it upgraded and improved, and new legislation and change from gas boilers to air source heat pumps and solar panels and
all the new regulations.
So we then start looking at coming out of the physical asset to maintaining the buildings. So we own companies now that maintain them for the government on large scale social housing. So again, looking at the market, where is there opportunity? What's the future looking like? So that for us has been very, very successful. We've had a couple of businesses that didn't quite make it. That we bought the wrong companies, and the management of these businesses are crucial. And that's one of the lessons for us. You buy a property, you see it, you kind of, that's it, it's done. You leave it. But when you have a trading business, very much management intensive, and we've got one or two wrong in our time, but in the main, we've got most of them right.
I want to talk about the businesses in a moment. Just before we do that, let's just address one question that I'm sure you get asked just about every day of the year. We as well do about the market at the moment. When's the bubble going to burst? When's this going to things? What's your reading? I mean, here we are in Dubai. We've got this extraordinary view in this extraordinary property. What's your view on the Dubai market at the moment?
I think it is a bubble, but we just don't know when it's going to burst. Or is it going to get bigger? Yes, I don't know.
Listen, it's the $1 million question. Listen, I think we're nearly there. I personally think we're right at the height of it, and I would be very nervous about buying anything in Dubai right at this moment in time. Now, we've got the US elections coming up. Who knows what's around the corner. But what we've seen in the few years that we've been here, and the years before that, we've seen the huge. We thought when we came 4 years ago it was the top of the market, because within a year, rentals had went up, prices had gone up, and they just continue to go there. But what I'm hearing again, and we're observers here. We're not in it, but what I'm hearing is and seeing, and with the developments going on, I just think at some point, I don't know if it's going to be a massive crash. But I think we're probably here in Dubai. I would certainly be nervous about investing at this moment. I don't want to be left holding the ball. That's my opinion.
No, it's all about opinions, isn't it? It's all about opinions. Okay, let's talk businesses. So properties, there we are. That's booming. You've got everything going on. The momentum's going there. Then you've just touched on this sort of next move and the expansion of the group into businesses. 2019, I think, was the
around about that. Yeah,
round about that time. I mean, is that? Obviously, it's a shift of focus, but is it a mind shift as well? Do you have to wear a completely different cap from the property side of things to the business acquisition side of things?
Not as big as you'd think, really. I mean, we're business people. Property's a business. We've always run it as a professional business. We just moved disciplines, if you like. So it's still kind of property related. We're maintaining properties. We understand that market. It's something that we're familiar with. We can, in terms of regulations and legislation, upgrading and improving properties. I mean, we've done all sorts of property investments, commercial, resi, buildings, office developments, commercial to resi developments. We've got a ground,
Old
a good
schools, old pubs, all residential.
yeah, banks.
Banks, all bank.
So we've got a right mixed bag in the property development side. But so we've been used to dealing with contractors and all that stuff. We just went on the other side of it. But the fundamental difference is I love the business side way more than property. Miles more. I thoroughly enjoy the thrill of that every day rather than just boring property. sorry.
You know, he likes it, but I like the negotiating the deals.
Yes.
You know, but Graeme likes the actual business side of it. But I like the chase of the negotiating. Right? Okay, I've identified something I want. Right, let's negotiate to a good price that I want to pay for it.
One thing I do want to ask about, you know, whether it be the property side of the business acquisition side of the business. I mentioned 2019 there. That's just before 2020, and things changed in 2020. Learnings from COVID.
Yeah, we did. I mean, COVID. You know, we actually
our boring properties through COVID were fine. We're fine.
They were fine.
The businesses might not have been,
No,
but
I mean, that was
the properties were.
That was a testing time. But we done a big acquisition right in the middle of COVID and a lockdown in the UK. We done it. It got delayed. But we done it. What was it? May 2020. It was due to go through in the February. It didn't go through to the May, and so we just continued doing it. We just continued, and we continued lining up businesses because, in actual fact, during COVID, you were able to get hold of people because everybody was in the house. You know, they weren't on the golf course or at a wedding or on holiday. It was actually, we were working harder than ever from at home. Then you were able to get hold of people. So, but it was a worrying time, of course. You know, you had people, you know, everything ground to an absolute halt. You couldn't move. You had to negotiate the furlough scheme payments in the UK, and we had, I think we had 550 staff at the time, so across various businesses, direct employees.
And then in Scotland, you weren't allowed on site.
No, it was a complete lockdown.
At all, complete lockdown.
It was worse. You know, it was worse than in England. It was there was a bit of flexibility, and what was essential worker in England wasn't an essential in Scotland. You know, there was variances, so we were locked off site, and so that was a test.
Interesting that you talk about the business opportunities that were thrown up by COVID, but in terms of informing you from a business point of view, moving forward after COVID, post-COVID as they call it, but also from a family and personal point of view, did it make you sort of look at the world any differently?
Yeah, absolutely did. That's why we moved to Dubai.
It is.
You know, that's one of the main reasons why we said we're moving now. You know, so straight after COVID, we moved.
It was kind of through the end of COVID we moved.
Yeah,
just when they started lifting
the restrictions. Was it? You know, it was a thinking time with a family. We should have moved a few years before it. We kind of didn't. You know, we're just busy, like we were talking about earlier. Something else comes up, and so that time during the COVID time was a real time for reflection and planning. So we moved the very first day they lifted the restrictions. We drove to our house in Spain. So, and with a view, and we were there for 2 weeks, and we flew to Dubai, and that was us moved permanently to Dubai.
Extraordinary.
We didn't even
We've done the planning. You know, we got all our stuff sorted out during the lockdown period, but immediately that we could go because we were waiting on it.
And we heard a lot during COVID here that, you know, there are a lot of people coming and going, oh, it's completely different mindsets, you know, the optimism we talked about, the can-do attitude as well. Is that something that hit you when you arrived in Dubai compared to the lockdown experience that you've been having, or not?
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Because we'd been locked in. We lived about 20 minutes outside Dundee. You know, you never seen a soul, and it was just coming back into humanity and a living world and
seeing people.
But
it was bad because when they lifted the restrictions for a couple of weeks, we went to Spain, and it was grim down there also. You know, so there was a different. Dubai just seemed a bit more advanced and had handled it in their own way, which appeared to be better. And you know, and it was kind of like what we seen from an opportunity point of view. And I remember speaking to Fraser about this. I'm saying, actually, in the leisure and retail sector that had been decimated in Spain, all these bars had closed down. I mean, they'd closed forever. Yeah. They were they were open again here. There was movement, there was activity, and there was people going to them again. Because again, we didn't know what the future held. We've got this you know, disease going around. What does it mean? But we'd seen, hold on. So we're saying, actually, we should be looking at opportunities in Spain, because if Dubai is how it's going to be, because they're ahead of the game, Spain, there will be a bounce back here in Spain. And so we started looking at opportunities down in Spain, and my son bought a bar down there and all that stuff.
Tell you what, well, Dubai and Spain are much better places for it. Before we move on from the businesses, there's one I've got to ask. I'm not going to ask the awful question about, have you got a favourite business within the business group? That's like asking about favourite child or something like that, isn't it? But you mentioned Fraser, and he wants special mention of Saltaire. If we can tell us a bit more about Saltaire, the growth of that as well, and just how proud you are of where it's at the moment.
Fantastic business. That's the business I was telling you about. We bought in the middle of lockdown.
Still going.
Still going. It's going strong. The business is in great shape. I mean, from where we bought it, it's been a turbulent few years, but the position that it's in now is in, you know, it's never been in better shape. We've just agreed in the last 6 months over £200 million worth of contracts for the business, secured employment for the staff. There's around 300 staff, direct employees there now. We've secured employment for them for the next 10 years.
12.
Yeah, it's 10 plus 2, but you know, for the next decade. It's something we're really proud of. We've added significant value to the business. We concentrate on the few things, not the many. It has a phenomenal management team and under management team. We don't get involved in the day-to-day operations. These guys know what they're doing. So when we bought the business, the old directors stayed for a while, then retired. We promoted the next level, the next tier up into positions and supported them in that transition up the way, and it's worth the treat. It's worth an absolute treat. It's a great business, great management, but management is crucial to it, and that's the one thing that when we're looking at businesses now, it could be a great deal. Who's managing it? What's the management like? And that's something we've learned over time.
And getting the right people into those positions.
Right people into, yeah, absolutely.
Future of the business group?
Well, we keep going. You know, we're always buying, we're always selling. So it's not like we're trying to get it to a certain number, then we'll just float it. We'll always be in business. There's not like any retiring plans, or we no chance that we're going to do anything like that. So our group is a group of businesses. We'll always be buying, looking for value, acquiring, and always exiting where we can get good value for what we've done.
To that, I just want to talk about team, if I can, because we've talked a lot about group, we talked about assets, and we've talked about properties, and we've talked about bricks and mortar, etc. But as both of you have highlighted in our conversation thus far, you know, that comes with added responsibility of a growing workforce, of a growing employment, a growing wage bill, etc. COVID brought that into stark contrast and the responsibilities there. Again, is that something that you've sort of had to evolve with, that sort of growing responsibility to others and those that you employ?
Oh yeah, completely. I mean, team's very important to us. Team is, and I think, you know, we've had a lot of big lessons around team, haven't we? You know, Graeme and I are very loyal people, and so are our team. But if the team member's not fitting the function of the group, one of our biggest lessons is we haven't cut quick enough, you know, or moved on. And that was a huge lesson for us, you know, 2021, 2022.
Yeah. As you grow, it never stops. Your team are always good. You're always moving. It's always changing. It's always evolving. I mean, what you're seeing here with the flip charts and everything today is us planning for next year. And already we're having up the game. We're rejigging, you know, the team, not just the direct employees and people who work with us, but our external advisors as well. You know, the aim has always been to pay the most in fees. You know, we want to pay that because then we're using the best firms. We're using the largest firms that are on our team. And so it's just our mindset has evolved over the years from trying to get it done on the cheap or get somebody that'll do you a good. We genuinely want to pay the highest fees, because that means we're doing the best deals and we're using the best companies to represent us. So that never stops. You know, it just.
I don't
you
think
keep
we've always
evolving.
ever been really bad at that, like using correct advisors, because that was one of the things that.
I think when we had no money at the
Yeah,
start,
you know,
we had no
you
choice.
had no choice, but
Yeah.
you know, and again, we never cut quick enough on certain people,
Yeah.
and that was huge lessons for us.
But to that end, and just in terms of qualities, I mean, you guys have both sort of highlighted loyalty as something that's very, very keen to you, team's very keen to you as well. When you look at the sort of appointments you've made and the senior management team you've built in all the businesses the world over, is there sort of one common quality that sets an employee apart for you?
I think that they can see the vision of the group, and they want to be on that journey. Yeah, they want to be part of it. And I think for me, anybody that we employ, we want them to come through that journey with us. We don't want them just to be an employee. You know, if they want to come in the journey, they're more than welcome.
Yeah.
You know, there are people that just want to come in and do the 9 to 5, but for the people that do want to come through, will come through with us.
Yeah, I think we are good at communicating the vision and what it is that we're looking to achieve, and we are, through how we are as loyal people, we get loyalty back, but that can be a bad thing because we could be loyal to, you know, non-performance.
Yeah.
You can be loyal to the person, but the performance is not good enough, and that's hurt us in the
That's what I was
past.
saying
Yeah,
earlier.
it's hurt us in the past. So we need to be loyal to the result and the output, because that's what we can't ever do. We've always got to look at the whole. We have a responsibility to the whole, with not just an individual or individual departments or companies. We've got to look at holistic view, and that's my job.
Yeah.
My job is always to look at the biggest possible picture, and I will make the decisions based on what I think is the best for the group and for the whole, because I have a responsibility to everybody. And there's a heavy burden comes with that. You've got to have big shoulders, and I think one of the lessons that we've learned over the time, because it's not all been plain sailing, you know, we've had some hellish times through the years, but we're resilient and we can cope with it. And we've proven that, because you can never second guess yourself until you're in that situation. And I think that's one of the strengths for us. And to have the ability to carry the weight of responsibility, but more importantly, and act upon that, is crucial. You know, but to keep the big picture, because at times, you know, we could have done certain things that felt right, but wasn't the right in the best interest of the group. So it's keeping that holistic view.
It strikes me that you two and the group as a whole don't rest in your laurels. You know, you're constantly moving forward and things like that. And I love the fact that, you know, you talked earlier about the learnings and the embracing failure and learning from failures and taking those as moving forward. Where do you sit on celebrating successes? Because I know that's a bit of a debate in the business world. Are you ones to celebrate success?
100%. There's no debate.
Scottish.
We have no
Celebrate
debate.
all wins.
Celebrate all wins. There is no debate for us on that. Every year we have a conference and we review it. We've got one coming up next month here in Dubai, where we bring a group of folks over, and we'll be celebrating. We'll be marking it. Because it's been a fantastic year for us. So we'll be marking that and having a proper celebration, you know, and even when, you know, throughout the year, we do mark it, because it's an important thing that you mark the occasion, because you get you know, then it means something. Because all of the time, if you're just always kicking it down the road, because the bad times are always going to be there. So, but we celebrate and we bank it, and we're thankful for it. Then we move on to the next one.
Quite right too. Quite right too. Let's bring it back to today, if we can, and where we are at. In your words, tell me and explain to me, if you can, what the Carling Group is today. What the Carling Group is today and where it is today. Obviously, we'll look to the future in a minute, but where we're at the moment.
So we're an international business. We really specialise in property-related assets, whether it's physical properties or maintaining properties or renewable energy. That's our speciality, and that's where we have had a lot of success over recent years. We see that growing, continue to grow internationally with partners. We're a partnership business. So we don't want to know all. We partner with good businesses in countries and jurisdictions within a very select industry that is around property and property-related assets.
Graeme, you must get, I mean, given the success that you and the team that you guys have built over the years, you must just get people knocking on the door constantly saying, partner with me, JV with me, JV with me, etc.
Yeah.
How do you vet them? How do you vet the wrong uns from the right uns?
We have a very, very strict criteria, you know, and by the way, again, and our criteria is just changing now for next year, because as we've grown and as our businesses grow, what was a good deal or a good opportunity, or you know, in the past, isn't now. You know, we don't. It's too small for us now. We've got up our game. So on that level, that keeps on changing the criteria. But having a strict defined criteria is the filter. It stops it because it's very easy to get pulled by the nose.
I think that's worked for us all the way through.
Yeah.
We've done that from, you know, looking at single properties to businesses. We've always had a strict criteria.
But it doesn't stop people, even when we tell them the criteria,
still shut the door.
some picture of stuff that we have never done, no interest in, and we'll politely decline those
Today,
offers.
But then maybe in the future?
Maybe you know, I think we have we are laser beam focused on what it is that we do.
Yeah.
And that has served us well. So we try not get too distracted by it. Now we miss out on so many opportunities because of that.
Yeah.
But we have our plan.
Yeah.
And we're focused on our plan. And that's it. You know, and that keeps us right.
Yeah.
And what we miss out on, but that's what it is. But we have to, if you don't have your own plan, you're part of somebody else's plan.
Can you explain a phrase to me that I know is very key to you both as well? This concept of starting at the end. How has that sort of served you right, and why is that so key?
So we learned this years and years ago. It's called PERT. And NASA used it to put the man on the moon. Well, they say to put the man on the moon, but it was actually to get him home.
Right.
So, and so we always start at the end. So what's the goal? What's the main aim? So NASA's main aim was to get the guy to the moon, but back home safely. And we use this technique for everything. You know, even, you know, when the kids were younger, planning a birthday party. So you put yourself in that day, and you work your way back to the present day. What do you need to do just before that? And it's worked well for us.
The reason we do it that way is because when you work it from the end back, you've done it. You've achieved the goal.
You can touch it. You can smell it.
You be there. You imagine yourself. We've just done that. Then you say, what happened just before that? Because doing it the traditional way on a Gantt chart or a business plan, you get to stage one. You say, right, okay, money. Don't have the money. That's that then. You know, that's that. Well, just forget all about that. We do it from the end, and the money's just one of the things, or the deal's just one of the things. So by reversing it, and when you do it like that, then everything falls into place. And getting the money, or getting the deals, or getting the people, they're just one of the many things. But you've thought it right through, and that then you overcome that first hurdle. That is, where's the money? And most people we speak to, they get stuck right there. Because every deal you do is a bigger deal. If you're growing and evolving, so you need more money. And you need more. So you've always got to overcome that hurdle, no matter how much money. And, you know...
I know, when you say that, though, it always makes me think of the phrase, we always think, if you've got a good deal, the money will come. You know... So.
But when you've got the money, the deal's flowing as well. So it's... there's not just one way, you know.
But with the money's all good and well, and people have got, you know, loads of funding bits and pieces, and they make some awful decisions, whereas you guys seem to make very considered decisions. And that sort of explains it to me a bit at the end, you know, looking at the bigger picture rather than the starts and how do we get there. Start at the finish and then come back, start at the end and then come to the start. I'm just trying to work out which emotions or which qualities, human qualities. Is resilience really key to you? I mean, that's something you can't buy, is it? It's just something you learn along the way. How key is that in terms of where you're at the moment?
Well, it's crucial, and I think for us,
And commitment as well. We're committed to do
Yeah.
everything we say we're going to do. We go out and do it.
yeah, we try.
Well, we try.
We fail loads. You know, we make many, many mistakes and errors and misjudgments and all that stuff, but it doesn't kill us. You know, and we just like, okay, right, what do we learn? Right, okay, sore one, right, right, bang, we go again.
Yeah.
It's not going to nothing, and we've been through some of the things we've been through, and I think that's one of our key strengths is resilience, is that we cope. You know, we can cope with when things go bad.
If we're to do the sort of perfect mixing bowl of emotions and strengths as well, let's throw resilience in there. What others would you throw into that bowl?
Dedication.
I think
Completely dedicated, committed.
I think we love it. You know, we love it.
We enjoy it. We enjoy
We
it.
love it. We do.
We have fun.
We just love it. We love it. You know, so yeah, it's
We don't really have 2 days the same. You know, it's the same stuff you're working on, but we enjoy doing it, and we enjoy, you know, the team we're involved with. We love meeting new team members as well as we grow, and you know, new advisors and.
I mean, there is no secret recipe to success. It all comes in different ways. But I suppose that there's one thing that I'd pick up on, and it goes back to a point you both made a bit earlier on, and I think it's just come to me now, is that, yeah, you can write the books about how to get to success, etc. But the fact that you've done it together, and the fact that you're quite strict on staying in your own lanes, but at the same time, you know, bouncing ideas off each other, making decisions together, etc. I personally think that's a large part of where you got to today. Is that, would you agree with that?
100% agree with that. 100%. You know, I don't think either of us would be, you know, a good chance that we'd be where we are if we were just doing it individually or alone.
Yeah.
You know, we came into each other's lives, and you know, the cliche, they're smart or whatever, but it's the truth. That's really what happened to us. I'd done what I'd done previously. Leanne was where she was, and together we came together, and we've just went on this journey. And it's just our life. It's just our life.
Yeah.
So that's.
I've got to be careful telling Graeme ideas.
Yeah.
You know, not in private because he steals them as he's
Still
over.
is a bit.
I'll hear him on the phone to like Fraser or something, and he's telling my idea, and I'm like,
The future.
Right.
Let's talk about the future as well. I mean, you've just highlighted a little bit about, you know, the importance of setting goals and looking to the future and then working towards that as well. But what does the future? Let's start with the group as a whole, if we can. What's the future hold for the group?
The future, we keep going. We keep doing what we're doing. We scale up we've got a defined sector base.
Yep.
So we're too wide previously. We've honed that in. So the sectors that we're involved in, which are renewable energy, real estate, sport marketing, that's the four that four that we're focused on now for going forward. We've got a clear plan in terms of the revenue figure and value we want to achieve, and it's not really. Again, it feels funny now to say it's not about the money. It has to be about the money because there has to be a target and a goal to aim for. It doesn't, and to keep the businesses, with a clear plan of growth. But what we love doing personally as part of this is doing business in countries around the world with partners, with people that we meet that speak the same or better language than us and are as committed and dedicated. We just love being around people that not like-minded.
No, the energy and the vision, the go-get vision, and the can do and will do.
And we love it. We share like the old A-team expression. I love it when a plan comes together. Get you on the plane. But no, we love it, and we love it when we make money together. Yeah. You know, it's good making money, but see when you make money together with a good group of people, and you had a plan, and you executed it, and it was like that roller coaster, and you get there at the end.
I remember that time.
Remember that time. And those life experiences and challenges and the things that you've been through together, that you know, you never thought you never knew what you were going to come up against when you came up with the original plan. But to execute at the end and everybody cashes in and does well out of it.
Everybody wins.
And they're life-changing events for people.
But what a sort of beautiful juncture to be at as the moment as well, where we talked about the growth of the team, we talked about your successes together as well, and now with the younger generation coming into the group as well and moving forward. Surely that must give you a huge amount of, you know, a new energy, if you like, so about moving the business forward with your boys.
Well, it does, because I mean, he thinks we're boring old farts. You know, I say you're just the stuff you talk about is just boring. You know, so he's got the new age stuff. You know, the Dubai influencer stuff it's just not us. So that gives us a different dynamic. It gives the group a different dynamic, and of course we're in this for the long term. So we need to be talking to the younger, you know, market and all that stuff, and we're maybe just not so good at that, because we, or quite rightly, need to be talking, you know, to you know, the elderly, if you like, the more mature people.
More mature.
So you're more mature. Yeah.
What I enjoy about it is seeing them getting their lessons and their aha moments, and you know, them growing. I enjoy that, and you know, getting their wins and
that's important,
and even their problems, you know, and like, you know,
it's very important that for us that we don't steal the lessons.
Right.
You know, we don't want to. You know, Mitchell, when he's going to run on his bar and he's dealing with people and there's issues, and we can step in and do it. He has to. We're not going to steal his lesson. No. Go through it, go through the trouble of it, go through the failure of it. He's made a mistake, he's done something he shouldn't have done, maybe lost some money, or it's caused him major problems.
We'll give them guidance, but we'll never steal their
We're not
lessons.
going to steal his lessons.
So to that end as well, and I know how important setting goals has been for both of you. I know we talked about the Kiyosaki influence and the business approach. Is that something that you've instilled into?
100%.
Yep.
Even moving to Dubai, we get the flip chart out. And what was it? It's this screen, and we had the map of the world, and we've got Mitchell and our daughter Blair. We said, right, we're looking to move, pick 4 countries each, 3 countries, 4 countries each, and Dubai was one for all of us. And then they had to present to us why they wanted to move to each country. And we're like that with most things in life with the kids. We get them involved, we get them to, you know, present their reason why it's for them or not for them, and we really get them involved. And I think it's served us really well that, you know.
I think for Mitchell as well, you know, when we run his businesses, exactly saying he's been around us and the stuff we do for all his life, really, you know, and he's been listening to that. So when he's looking at his businesses, he's absolutely starting with the end in mind.
Yep.
You know, he's got that, he's thinking that way already, and that's brilliant. So fail fast. Get the failures out the road early. That's a regret I've got. Played it too small, too slow, took too long. I wish I'd have started way earlier, you know.
When you see directors and cameramans getting itchy, you know that you've drained the battery almost. So we're going to have to wrap up in just a few minutes' time. But just finally, so we talked about the group, and that's in a really healthy place. The market as well. I mean, looking ahead to the future as well. Good times. We know that the group is well set to sort of benefit, and as you said, with the generations. But market-wise, we mentioned there are all sorts of unknowns out there at the moment. But are you confident about the market moving forward?
Confident. Oh, absolutely confident. I mean, look, you know, there's opportunities everywhere. It depends how you want to read the news. I read the news with opportunities. Where's the money flowing? Where is it? You know, we don't set the market. We adjust the sales.
We always adjust, and you know, if the market changes, we change.
We have to change.
Adapt.
Yeah. So I think there is so most people sit on the sidelines and do nothing and moan about it and all this stuff. We're saying, well, hold on. Actually, it looks like that's the future. Certainly when it comes to renewable energies and clean energy and all that, that's where it's heading. AI. We know that's the future, you know, going forward. So these type of things, it doesn't matter, you know, who's the next president or all that. That's happening. That stuff. So maybe not so much in terms of, you know, they're still going to drill for oil if Trump gets in, and you know, more so than Kamala. But you know, it's still going to happen. It's that transition's still going to happen.
I
It's
bet
just
in
when.
any business, if the market changes, you should, you know, be able to adapt and change.
And you can see worldwide there is a shortage of housing. Well, certainly, you know, UK, US, Europe, there's a massive shortage of housing. So we can't see that. I don't know why that will change. Just be vigilant. You know, what type of property investor are you? Are you flipping properties? Are you in it for capital gains or cash flow? Where's the good yields? You know, so we're kind of clear on that. So
Long may it continue, and I can see how much it means to you both. I can see how much it means to the group. It's been an absolutely inspiring hour or so chatting with you. I suppose the final question has to be about you two as well, because I know we set out in this conversation saying you're not good at sitting around on beaches and enjoying all those hard yards, all the hours you put in as well. So can I read into that that's not on the horizon anytime soon, not retiring to a beach in Aberdeen or anything like that?
No, never. No, it's not. No. We were in Necker Island last week, by the way, Richard Branson's island. So we were out, and that was beautiful. So we had to tough that out. That was tough.
We hiked every day. We hiked round the island.
We toughed that. So yeah, we don't mind spending a few days, but absolutely not.
But at the end of the year, so we use this time when everybody goes off on holiday, you know, December time, we use it to reflect, to review and plan for the next year. You know, what challenges are we going to do and where is the business going? So we will look forward to the challenge, but you know, are we going to do Kilimanjaro or Everest Base Camp? You know, what we're going to do.
Listen, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Any chance whatsoever of you paying Graeme back that 30 quid or not? Or
Plus interest, by the way, compound.
Been a while. That's right, yes. Thank you so much indeed for inviting me into your house. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to have a chat as well. It's been an absolute pleasure. So,
Please you came. Thanks very much. Thank you. Cheers. Thanks. Cheers. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers.